If you have been in the crypto space for a while or you're new to this space, you understand that we have a knack for using big grammar, like using terms that people would have to ask, what exactly are you saying, just to be able to understand it. Now, in this video, I'm basically going to be breaking down a particular section of these terms. Well, the list is endless and we can't dive into everything right now. But for this video, we're going to be talking about layers and webs. When I'm talking about the web, I'm talking about the internet. And most likely you do not understand layer in terms of cryptocurrency, not laying eggs. And so we're going to be talking about both in correlation to each other, or at least using both as example. Now, the first thing you need to understand is we have numbers for this layer. So we have the web 1, web 2, and web 3. You most likely have heard this. And we have layer 0, layer 1, and layer 2. Yeah, so 0 will be 1 here, 1 will be 2 here, and 3 will be 3 here. Or yeah, 2 will be 3 here. You get the gist. So from the web 1 was basically a transition for the human race, a time moving from Stone Age to the digital age, a time from where we have to communicate from letters to be able to send text messages and probably even send letters online. That was basically what the internet brought for us, digitizing our day-to-day life. It was new, it was mind-blowing. And yeah, you basically heard all these just before. But for the layer 0 is basically just like the web 1 offered. It was the foundation of everything. Now, mind you, for the web 1, we never had what we have now. What we only had then was just read only. You could only read off the internet. You could not basically interact with it or do things on it. And this was the likes of Wikipedia and so on and so forth. But for the layer 0, which is also the first part of the crypto world, well, the digital currency world, we could not really do much on it. It was basically the foundation of things. Doesn't mean you couldn't interact with it, because other cryptocurrencies were built on the layer 0 to actually function, or at least make use, in other words, utility of the layer 0. An example of such cryptocurrency was Polkadot. So Polkadot, just like it says, or just like the abbreviation of that currency sounds, dot, basically connects blockchains together so they could be able to communicate with each other. Just the foundation of cryptocurrency, like I said. And cryptocurrency is built on blockchains. So that was all the layer 0 was and all the layer web 1 was. Now, moving on to web 2 and the layer 1. The web 2 was where we could interact with the internet. Not just read from it or post articles, but basically send messages back and forth. And even in real time. This is where we had the Facebook, the social media, Instagram, and so on and so forth. Every form of social media you could think of was built on the web 2. And this was like a leap from basically what web 1 was. Web 1 was just Stone Age now compared to what we have in web 2, which is far, far crazy and more to come. And this also applied to the layer 1 in the crypto world. Now, for the layer 1, unlike layer 0, which was basically foundation, foundations are important, but you can't really live in a foundation. You need to build on it. And this was what layer 1s were. Layer 1s, you could build on layer 0s. You could build anything on layer 0s from the layer 1 that was built. And this is where we had the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on and so forth. Now, you would ask, Bitcoin came before Polkadot. So how is it that the layer 1 was built on layer 0? So the thing is, layer 0 did not have to exist for layer 1 to exist later. They both could exist almost the same time, even though they had different functionalities, unlike the web 1 and the web 2. And so yeah, layer 1 was basically where you could actually build things on the layer 0. And then we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, which is where we have proof of stake, proof of work, and so on and so forth. Now, for the web 3, unlike traditional Facebook, Instagram, and social media where you could just communicate, move back and forth, and still have a server with this social media platform, this was where people wanted to become independent, where we could communicate like every social media thing, send messages, but everything would be encrypted. Everything will have to go through a blockchain system. In other words, no central body or central agency could intercept, fetch your data, or mess with things just the same way web 2 or just like web 2 would do. Now, it's not like an improvisation or a step further or a step away from web 2. Now, just like the same way we had a light year separation from web 1 to web 2, hopefully this would happen between web 2 and web 3. But where we are right now, the separation is not that obvious because we're still pretty much enjoying web 2. And this also applies to layer 2 in the crypto world. And now for the layer 2 is basically solutions built on layer 1. So layer 1 had its problems, had its own issues, even though it was very, very good and we used it for a lot of years. Same thing with web 2. I don't know if you can see the similarities just yet, but there were problems. Scalability, other simple utility needed to be fixed, right? So Bitcoin is good, but Bitcoin is not easily scalable. Bitcoin and Ethereum have very high fees and so on and so forth. And so networks needed to cryptocurrencies on a different network, well, still on the blockchain, but on a different network, needed to be built to be able to solve the problems that we had in layer 1. And this is why we have Lightning Network and Polygon. Now, the Lightning Network was built on, or at least to solve the Bitcoin issues, and the Polygon most likely built to solve the Ethereum issues. And this is just the same thing we have in Web3. In other words, the same form of the way Web 2 works, in other words, the same form of how your social media and everything works, but just built to solve other issues, security issues, data fetching issues, privacy issues, and so on and so forth. This was the plan to build on Web 3, and this is also how we intend to solve issues on layer 2 in the crypto world. So I hope you understand basically what Web 1, layer 0, Web 2, layer 1, Web 3, layer 2 means in the internet, in the world of the internet, and the world of cryptocurrency. Now, the part most people do not seem to foresee yet, even though it's already happening under our nose, is the fact that we are combining both. They are not exclusive, they are not two different worlds apart. Most likely, they're going to be so intertwined that you will almost forget they ever existed separately. I'm talking about the internet and cryptocurrency, actually, if you haven't gotten it just yet. With that said, I think this is where we have to come to an end on the crypto education. If you know any other term that confuses you or you want answers, especially for the world of cryptocurrency, let me know in the comment section, and I'll try to make videos to solve your problems, or at least answer your question. You're welcome.